Hey guys, I hope you've had a wonderful day. Today, we're gonna see if I can beat Pokemon Crystal only using dark type Pokemon. Only using ground type Pokemon. Now, the rules are simple. I can't overlevel my Pokemon. I can't use items in battle, but held items are okay. But if I'm being honest, I hardly ever use them. I will be playing on set mode, and I will use other Pokemon to learn HMs. And I think that's it. With that, subscribe and like the video, and let's go ahead and get started. So we can actually get two ground types in the early routes of the game, being Phanpy and Geodude. I wouldn't have had much to say if it didn't take forever to find. I'm talking a solid 40 minutes to find a Phanpy, and spoiler alert, it was not worth it. By the time I actually caught it, I forgot to name it. But we did name Geodude, and we named him Potato. I guess the only thing you need to know before we move on is that our rival's name is Eddie, and yeah, that's about it. Alright, time to head to Violet City where we can get an Onyx if we trade this guy a Bellsprout. But I'm too good at this game and we don't need it. With that, we face our first gym leader. And man, was I dead wrong. I don't think I ever lost to Faulkner until now. You would think my Pokemon would know rock type moves or something, but nah. I had Tackle as my only attacking move. Each fight turned out the same. If I had Potato out at any point, we would get hit with Mud Slap the whole time, lowering our accuracy so much we never landed a hit. While Phanpy just didn't do as much damage, as we would be low health by the time Pidgeotto came out. And Gus would do so much damage compared to what Phanpy was doing, we lost like 10 times or so. Yeah, let me get that Bellsprout real quick. We trade and we get our newest member, Rocky the Onyx. Now it's rematch time. I sent out Phanpy and used Tackle until we got real lucky and got a crit doing massive damage. So I switched to Rocky and used Tackle until we KO. He sends out Pidgeotto and I was able to land 2 Screeches before we started missing from all the Mud Slaps we were taking. We land 2 Tackles before going down. That's when Phanpy came out and finished the job, getting the win. On Route 32, we can get a Wooper, but only at night. And unfortunately for us, it's daytime. So we'll just come back for it later. I don't think it really matters right now. In Union Cave, we can get a Sandshrew that we named Crouton. And before we face the gym, we have to deal with some Team Rocket Grunts who didn't stand a chance. With that, we face our next gym leader, Bugsy. And as expected with Potato, we one-shot all 3 of his Pokemon with Rock Throw to get our next badge. But obviously something's off. The gym was too easy. As we leave and head to our next location, our rival Eddie wants to fight, and as soon as he sends out his Bayleaf and uses Razor Leaf, he one-shots every single one of my Pokemon. Man, of course it wasn't going to be that easy. I tried a couple times, but no luck. Besides Potato and the Pokemon that were level 11s and 15s, turned into a level 18 and 19 real quick. I easily did about 15 attempts until we got this lucky run. He sends out Bayleaf and I was able to use Screech before getting one shot with Razor Leaf. Now this is where everything just went right. I sent out Crouton and Bayleaf used Growl and Reflect instead of Razor Leaf, which was insane. We used 2 sand attacks, hoping Razor Leaf would miss, but it landed. But we live with 7 HP and we land a Poison Sting, and can you believe it? We get the poison. Not only that, because of sand attack, we were able to land 2 more Poison Stings before going down. After that, I sent out Phanpy and used Tackle until we knock it out. His last Pokemon is Zubat, so I switch it to Potato to KO, but we get KO'd instead. How crazy is that? We did win by sending out Phanpy and using Tackle, but wow, I still can't believe we lost to Zubat. Anyways, we make our way to Goldenrod where we face Gym Leader Whitney. She sends out Clefairy and I send out Rocky and she uses Metronome and got the worst luck. I was expecting Explosion, Surf, Earthquake, but nah. It was more like Mirror Move, Screech, and Glare. And one of them missed. But I can't be talking, I only landed 1 Screech. But after that, I switch it to Potato and use 2 Rock Throws to KO. Milktank comes out and I use Magnitude while she uses Rollout. Since I didn't do much damage, I switched back into Rocky and landed 2 Screeches before going down. Now, I wasn't keeping track of how many rollouts she did. It was either 1 more rollout or no rollout. So I switched to Crouton and yeah, it was no rollout. But hey, I landed a cut before I switched back into Potato and used a Rock Throw to win the fight. So for most rock type Pokemon in this game, they have a second typing being part ground. Except for Sudowoodo, which is a shame. Look how funky he is in the overworld. I want him so bad, but we have no choice but to let him go. In Ecruteak City, we try to face the gym leader, but we gotta go to the Burn Tower first, where we fight our rival, which went pretty well. Kinda. When Bayleaf came out, I used self-destruct, taking it down. We did lose Rocky to his Magnemite, but I sent out Crouton to finish the fight. After that, we meet the legendary dogs, and now we can face our next gym leader, Morty. He sends out Ghastly, and I send out Rocky. I use Rock Throw before he uses Curse, taking himself out. Next is Gengar, and he uses Mean Look while I use Screech. Next turn, he puts me to sleep and destroys me with Dream Eater. I send out Potato, and he's faster using Hypnosis, but it didn't work, causing me to one-shot the rest of his team with Magnitude. Man, nothing's better than realizing it's Gen 2 where abilities don't exist and everything is right in the world. After that, I had realized that we can get a new encounter being Nidoran and my Wooper that I forgot about. So I turned the clock to nighttime and I got my Wooper that I named Gushers. After that, I turned it to early morning to get a Nidoran that I named Ranch. Now that I have everyone, time to evolve. Ranch turned into Nidoking, Gushers turned into Quagsire, Fanfi to Donphan, and Crouton the Sand Slash. Now that I'm talking about levels, I want to mention up to this point, I never had to worry about the level cap until now. Because the level cap goes to 30, 35, back to 31. So now I gotta be careful of who I put out to fight during all of this, because I might overlevel a Pokemon that I need for a different gym. There's so many trainers throughout all these gyms that it could happen if I'm not careful. For example, all the Pokemon who I might run into in the water to get the Chuck, all the trainers in the lighthouse in order to face Jasmine, and all the trainers and Team Rocket stuff before Price. It was a little bit annoying, but at the end, I never had a problem. I just thought I would mention it before you see the levels to some of my Pokemon during these fights. Alright, with that, we can fight our next gym leader, Chuck, that I had a rematch like 3 times because Poliwrath was a beast. It was a tank and it used Surf and Hypnosis to wipe most of my team. And Gusher would get put to sleep and then get hit with Dynamic Punch, getting rocked. But 4 attempts later, and this happens. With Donphan, I would use Tackle and Flail, but this time around, we got KO'd. It kept hitting Fury Swipes 5 times in a row. I switch into Crouton and land a Slash to finish him off. He sends out Poliwrath, and I was faster, landing a Poison Sting, getting the poison before going down to a Surf. He one-shots Rocky and Potato, so I send out Gusher and land a Strength before getting hit with a Dynamic Punch, leaving me confused. So next turn, Gusher hits himself and gets hit with another Dynamic Punch. Like, isn't that a little bit overkill? I'm just saying. I send out Ranch and use Thrash to get the win. Man, that was something else, I tell you. Luckily, we could catch a little break because we skipped Jasmine and head straight to Mahogany Town, where we beat the Shiny Dragon and Team Rocket, and now we can face Gym Leader Price. I send out Ranch and use 2 Thunder Punches, KOing Seal. He sends out Dugong and I use Thunder Punch while he uses Aurora Beam, doing massive damage. I go for another Thunder Punch, but it wasn't enough and we get KO'd by another Aurora Beam. What's worse is when I send out Potato, he heals, so Ranch did all that for nothing. I used Fire Punch and it did nothing, so with 2 Rock Throws, we KO. He sends out Pillow-Swine and goes first using Blizzard, KOing us. So I send out Gusher and come on! He hits another Blizzard. How? Every time I use Blizzard, I miss. Anyways, I use Amnesia, but it was a little too late for that. Next turn, he uses Fury Attack for some reason, and I use Surf, doing about half. After that, he goes for a Blizzard and finally misses. I use Surf, winning the match. It was a short battle, but it was fun. Now that we got that out the way, we can face Jasmine, where we one-shot both Magnemites and almost one-shot Steelix with a crit Fire Punch, but no, he heals, and I use 2 more Fire Punches to get the win. We do some more Team Rocket stuff and run into Eddie, and I'm not gonna lie, I had forgot to record half the fight, so this is me facing his Meganium, and he just knocked out Crouton, but I just sent out Ranch and used Fire Punch until we KO. After that, we slap his team up, no problem. Moving on to the Ice Path, we can get a Swinub, but only in the morning and afternoons, and unfortunately for me, it was nighttime, so I'll get it later if we really need it, but let's be real, I'm a gamer. I don't need it. Instead, I found out that we could get a Cubone at the game corner that we named Hamburger, We immediately evolve her, and now we can face our last gym leader, Claire. I sit on Ranch and use 2 ice punches to KO Dragonair. She sends out another one and I use ice punch while she goes for an ice beam that froze Ranch. Oh, this is just bad luck. Next turn, we get KO'd. I send out Gusher and use Ice Punch to KO. She sends out another Dragonair and uses a crit Dragon Breath that also paralyzes. Bruh. What I say, bad luck. Next turn, we get KO'd. After that, it was a wrap. Potato got destroyed with Dragon Breath. Hamburger was able to KO Dragonair with Headbutt, but we just get taken out with Surf from Kingdra. So we lose. Well, that went terrible. It didn't get any better from here. Kingdra obviously was gonna spam Surf, and that's what she did. I lost maybe 8 times up to this point, so I think it's about time I get that Swinub that I named Hot Dog and evolve him. After that, I went back to the gym and started retrying again and again. And ever since I brought Hot Dog along, Claire's Pokemon have started to come out in a different order. And because of that, we got this attempt. I send out Hot Dog and we get hit with Surf. I use Icy Wind that also lowered her speed. So next turn, I'm faster and we KO her with another Icy Wind. She immediately sends out Kingdra and Hot Dog's done everything he needs to do and he gets KO'd by Surf. I send out Gusher and for some reason Kingdra will use Smokescreen a couple times before using Surf, giving us enough chances before we get KO'd. It was going well at first, only missing once and having her on red HP, but she heals and now we do it again. Only this time I was missing more often. And she hits me with a Surf doing a lot of damage. And Gusher beats the odds and lands one more Earthquake to KO. And I was losing my mind. I swear I got hit with 5 or 6 sand attacks. I don't know how I landed that. After that, I just used whatever Pokemon to finish the rest of our team, winning the match. That was something else. Hopefully, we don't have to struggle like that for a bit. We head a victory road where we get our last Pokemon Rhydon and mistakes were made. I should have used someone else. Anyways, we run into our rival Eddie for the last time in fight. I almost destroyed his whole team with Ranch. It was crazy. But we did go down to a Sonic Boom, but Ranch did more than enough. I sent out Gusher to finish him off. And with that, we can head to the Elite Four where we faced our first Elite Four member, Will, where we get absolutely destroyed for an hour and a half. It was insane. Who knew this was gonna be my biggest challenge yet? And I dare say this was my champion. First, Xaltu. Yup. Not joking. Xaltu would slap my team up real quick if it can. It would use Confuse Ray, and when it mattered most, I would hit myself. That with a combo of Psychic, it was over. It always did a lot of damage no matter who I was using. Some rounds, if my Pokemon was getting slapped up too hard, I had to restart. Next is Executor, and there's not much to say. He says it for you. Psychic. Jinx? It could be easy to deal with, but if you let it attack, say bye. Its Ice Punch and Psychic are deadly. I lost important Pokemon to it, making me restart the match over and over again. Slowbro was a nightmare. If you let it hit curses and amnesias, bro, you not killing that thing. It's practically immortal. It hits like a tank, and my god, if this thing only spams Psychic, it's a wrap. With that, I hope you can get the idea of why this was really tough. Just getting blasted with Psychic was not fun. But with that, let me show you the run where I got lucky. I sit out Rhydon and get hit with a Psychic, and then I use Thunder Punch, not doing much at all. Next turn, we get taken out by another Psychic. I sit out Ranch and one-shot Xaltu with Thunder Punch. Jinx comes out and I switch in a Donphan, getting hit by a double slap. And then I use one rollout before getting destroyed by 2 ice punches. I send out Potato and get one shot by Ice Punch, so I send out Ranch and use double kick to KO. He sends out Slowbro and I use Thunder Punch, doing a little bit more than half while he uses Curse. We land one more Thunder Punch to get the KO. He sends out his other Xaltu and I spam Ice Punch, eventually knocking him out. I will say though, he left me on red HP, so when Executor came out, he sent him to the Doom Dimension. I send out Ranch and attack first with Ice Punch, not being able to KO. He lands Psychic, leaving us on 22 HP. That was close. Next turn, we KO with another Ice Punch. All I gotta say is that I took a break after this. The next member was Koga, Kyogre and I sent out Ranch and used Ice Punch, and it wasn't super effective against Ariados, which was wild to me. I didn't know Ice wasn't strong against Bug in this generation. I had a hard time knocking it out until I used Thunder Punch. Next is Venomoth, and I used an Ice Punch while he used Psychic, leaving me on low HP. Next turn, we KO with Ice Punch. Next was Fortress, and this is where I messed up because I didn't have Fire Punch on Ranch, so I was using whatever move to see which did more damage, and I got it to half health before going down to a Swift. I sent out Potato and used a Fire Punch to KO. His next Pokemon was Crobat, and I know I didn't really show it, but every time I used Potato to take out any Pokemon from the Zubat line, I would always lose, and this was no exception. I sent out Gusher and take some damage, but we ended up KOing Crobat with 2 Ice Punches. His last Pokemon is Muk, and we used 2 Earthquakes to KO. With that, we go to the next member, Bruno. With him on top, he uses Dig while I use Earthquake, hitting him regardless, knocking him out. Oh, come on now, it's too easy. Hitmonlee comes out and I almost KO with Earthquake, but he literally lives with 1 HP. I get hit with a double kick and then I use another Surf to KO. So next is Hitmonchan, and you would think I would use another Earthquake, but I'm actually running low on them and I want to save them for later, just in case. So I don't end up using Earthquake and I use Surf instead, not doing nearly as much. And then we get hit with a Mach Punch. Next turn, I go for Strength, but it wasn't enough and he uses another Mach Punch and it also wasn't enough. But luckily for me, I'm faster, and with one last strength, we KO. His next Pokemon is Machamp, and he uses Cross Chop to finish me off. So I send out Ranch, who can take some hits, and start throwing Thunder Punch haymakers until we get it down to yellow HP. And I don't know about you, but this man was landing every single Cross Chop like there was no tomorrow. Like, doesn't it have like bad accuracy or something? Anyways, I used Thrash to finally KO him. His last Pokemon is Onix, and since I'm stuck on Thrash, I keep using it while he KOs me with 2 Earthquakes. I send out Potato and get hit with an Earthquake, and we do our own Earthquake to get the win. Now we can face our last Elite 4 member, Karen. And honestly, what the flip? Umbreon uses Sand Attack, making us miss rollout, and then hits us with a Confuse Ray. But we still land the Earthquake, unfortunately not doing much at all. Next turn, we break out of Confusion and land a rollout, leaving it on red HP just to get confused again, and then Umbreon decided to KO me when I had 88 HP. Which is a lot for a Potato, by the way. It was crazy, or maybe I'm crazy. I sent out Ranch and used Double Kick to KO. She sends out Vileplume and I use 2 Ice Punches to KO. Next is Murkrow and I just slap it up with a Thunder Punch, and then she sends out Gengar. I use Ice Punch while she used Curse, doing all the work for me. So with a Thunder Punch, we KO. Her last Pokemon is Houndoom and I use Double Kick while I get hit with a Curse and then Flamethrower, leaving me with 4 HP. Ranch was not playing. With another Double Kick, we KO. Beating all the members to the Elite 4, and all we got left is the champion, Lance. I send out Rhyhorn and immediately get KO'd. This is why I said mistakes were made. I sent out Gusher and nothing crazy happens until I used Strength and got hit with a Hyper Beam that did a decent amount of damage. But that just gave me a free turn to use another Strength to KO. Next is Dragonite and he misses a Hyper Beam while I use Ice Punch. Next turn he landed the Hyper Beam, KOing us, but that's fine because I sent out Ranch and used Ice Punch to KO without taking any damage. He sends out another Dragonite and I one-shot it with Ice Punch. Next is Aerodactyl and we take massive damage from Hyper Beam before taking it down with 2 Thunder Punches. He sends out Charizard and I switch into Donphan, getting hit by a Flamethrower. Next turn we get hit with another one with Burn while we use Rollout, but it was short-lived because we get KO'd by Burn. I send out Potato and use Rock Throw to KO. His last Pokemon is Dragonite and he uses Outrage to KO Potato. I thought the same thing was gonna happen to Hamburger, but no, we live the Outrage to land a Headbutt. How crazy is that? She did go down next turn. I sent out Ranch and with 1 Ice Punch we KO, winning the match, beating Lance and becoming the new champion, only using ground type Pokemon. This was a lot of fun and I hope you enjoyed it. Alright, that's it. See ya.